Hello everyone, welcome back to the inTutor. In our previous video, we are talking about if else and else if conditional statements. The switch case doesn't work with a range; it works with a particular integer, like a value, just a single value. Imagine now that we actually have some, let's say a city. You have some access cards, and those access cards have numbers that indicate whether you happen to be in room A, room B, room C, or in room D. Let's try to implement that system for you to better understand the switch case. Before that, let's see the format of a switch case program. So that this is just how it works. You say, okay, we first of all declare our variable. We give its data type. We say maybe a variable. Let's in this case it was an integer. Well, we say okay, int our variable. After declaring our variable, we say, well, we switch the variable, the same variable. We switch our variable, and in the switching of the variable now, we are now going to be declaring cases like the case first value, case of the first value. What happens is an instruction. We give our first instruction for in case the first value happens to be valid. Oh, excuse me, this is not how actually works. This is how it's to work actually. Well, that's that. So, and then it breaks. We verify another case. We say, okay, case next value. We give some other instruction. We break. Then actually at the end of the stuff, we should actually happen to find a situation where the values don't suit any of the cases. Well, in that situation, we are now going to be using the default. Say default, kind of default, and well, the last instruction, the form of instruction. Then we break down completely. That's how it actually works. So how is this? This is basically the format for the switch case in C. What happens is we create a variable that is going to be storing that value. That variable has a value, and then we switch the variable. Switching the variable according to different cases. We have a case. If the case now fits a particular value, it will execute the instructions that work with that value. So if it happens that this variable has this value, this instruction is going to be executed. If it instead has this value, this instruction is executed. Now in the case where it has none of the values indicated in the case, it now works with the default value. So that's some kind of fascinating stuff about the use case. Let's try to implement the stuff directly. Let's go in with int main function. Well, you can later pause the video to copy the code and try. Make sure you try it so that you would better understand stuff. So I've declared the main function, and in the main function I've declared the variable var. In this case, I'm now going to be using ID. Remember we were working with card, so card number or card ID. Card ID. So okay, card ID. So we declare the cat ID, we switch the case ID, the cat ID. So let's now work with the different values. In a situation where it happens that the cat ID holds, let's say, might be 1, let's say 100, We then, in the place of an instruction, we say, okay, print f room A. We break. Then we move in with the next interval. We say, okay, so you present your card at the entrance of the city and it tells you which room you're actually going to. For understanding purpose, I just said, okay, we had something like 2 rooms. So you present your card ID, and your card ID has contains some value that will permit us now to actually verify to which room you actually belong. So in the first case, I will say, okay, let's verify if it works. So I didn't spell it correctly. I wrote suite, of which it's a switch. Let's add some other rooms. Well, feel free to pause the video and you can try copy the code so that you execute it on your own side and actually better understand how the code works. So if it happens to fall within this case, it will just run the code within it. And in case it takes none of the cases, it now runs the default. So let's execute this program by first giving a value 100. So you see, the card ID here is 100. We are expecting that we should fall in room A. Is that actually what happens when we press F11? When we execute our program, yes, you're in room A because the card ID was 100. So let's now check if the 400 works. Say, okay, 400, you are in room D. Well, now, what if the user brings in a card ID? Let's say my bidder has something like, let's say 600. What happens is that in this particular case, it's just going to say, not a member of this city. That's how the switch case functions in C programming language. So, thanks for watching this video. See you in our next video for a deeper view of C programming language. Don't forget to like and subscribe.